good afternoon, everyone, and
Good afternoon.
welcome to this place. Personally, it's sort of a passion project. So, on behalf of the teachers of Quazela City and the proprietors, we want to thank you so much. We want to thank the Writers Collective for accepting our invitation, taking a chance, and coming and creating an event here in this space. We're very happy that you've joined us this afternoon. It's maybe not the most convenient location for all of you, but the fact that you're here means that you love literature, you love stories, and you like to learn, and you like to share stories. So that's something very special for us, and I think we're all in good company. To begin our program, I would like to invite our president, Writers Collective Kohima, Ms. Fisher-Victor Kocha, to give a brief note on the Open Book Initiative.
It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to our first literary event, aside from the Nagaland Literature Festival, which the Writers Collective has been organizing over the past 4 years. When we came up with this idea and approached the Task Force for Music and Arts, they showed keen interest to partner with us, and I want to thank Sir Tejameru, the chairman of TAFMA, for making this small but meaningful event possible. As a friend, mentor, and a believer in dreams, Teja has always been very approachable and also being very welcoming of our ideas and dreams. And I want to thank you, sir, for being an enabler and helping us pursue this initiative that has long been on our minds. Thank you for journeying with us as we embark on this very exciting venture that is aimed at bringing together writers who are both established and emerging, also musicians, storytellers, entrepreneurs, to share their work and together explore stories from Nagaland, which may come in any form of art. We are also collaborating with local entrepreneurs this afternoon. We have Ate and a few young entrepreneurs who have put up their stalls outside. This is with the sole idea of supporting and promoting each other in whatever way possible. Ate is providing free drinks today, for which we are very grateful. Thank you, Lichan, for your generosity. In the meantime, but I would also like to encourage all of us to buy from the other stall manned by very young entrepreneurs. The very name Open Book was Teja's idea, and it encompasses everything that the Writers Collective had in mind for this exciting venture. Stories have been around for as long as human beings have existed, and I think all of us turn to stories to make sense of the world around us. In a world dominated by technology and social media, all of our attention span is also very short, and it's easy to forget the transformative power of books, which essentially carry our stories. I can't emphasize enough how important our stories are, because come to think of it, every single one of us are stories. We begin life with stories, and even in the end, we will all become stories. And stories do shape us. It shapes our thinking, our perspectives, the things that we do, and the very way we live. This afternoon, I am extremely excited that we are starting off our inaugural Open Book series with two of the most celebrated and inspiring authors, Avino Kire and Keditsu. As we look forward to listening to them, I also hope that we will experience even more the power of literature and its profound impact on our lives. Once again, welcome to this event where we will explore the magic of stories and the importance of nurturing a vibrant culture of literature and stories in our society. Before I step down, as a small gesture of our appreciation, the Writers Collective would like to show a little something to our special guests. So we have the Japanese maple sapling.
Okay. Well, this is very kind of you. Thank you. Oh, my favorite. Thank you so much.
And also chicken salad prepared by the entrepreneur.
You're gonna hear me now. Oh, really? Wow. Thank you. Thank you. This is so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. So good to see all of you. Thank you, Rita and Yang, and in particular the Writers Collective Kohima for this invitation for us to be part of this wonderful new beginning, a new chapter in Kohima and in our Nagaland history. I must confess, I'm not an avid reader, but I love the company of avid readers. And that's why I didn't think twice to be with you. And yes, I'm an avid learner too. So just to let you know, I love all of you. And one thing I've always believed and told young people for the last 20 years is, readers are leaders. And when I'm in your midst, I know that I've been prepared for leadership. And for those who are in this movement of the Literature Festival to the open book today, that your leadership means a lot, and that what you do will bear so many fruits in the days to come. As you are aware, TAFMA has a concept called the open house in the entire 17 districts of Nagaland. And now that Writers Collective have launched your open book, hopefully that with coordination with our state partners, district partners in all the 17 districts, that we would have also an open book chapters, sister chapters in all the 17 at the earliest. And I know with Rita's leadership, who can produce almost a book almost every day. And that type of energy, passion, and vision that she has, that within a few months, I know that we're able to see this happen. And I'm sure this will be a welcome thing for young people in particular, who are so used to their reels and mobiles, who actually start to pick up a book and read. Because again, readers are leaders. While I don't read too much, I love books, and I've made it a habit for the last 10, 20 years now to pick up a book at almost every airport I stop or transiting. So some are trophies, some are just lying there in my house with the city name, the city and date. But many I've read and have been enriched. And just being with you is very enriching. I'm just so glad that I'm going to be also listening to Avino and Teye, celebrated writers, as Rita really rightly pointed out. So I will, again, as an avid learner, I will learn from you today. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. This is so important. Sometimes size doesn't matter. All movement doesn't start with big numbers. In fact, they say the French Revolution was born in a little cafe. I don't know whether that's true, but that's the narrative that's been told to us. And this movement, this gathering today, this 20, maybe a few of us in that number, has the potential, this seed can grow into something absolutely brilliant and big. Therefore, I want to encourage all of you. The dream has begun, and we will ensure as TAFMA, together we'll hold hands to ensure that this is growing and impacting the lives of young people in Kohima and to the furthest parts of Nagaland. That's the dream. So let's dream together. And as they say, a dream you dream alone is just a dream. A dream that we dream together becomes reality. The words of John Lennon. So if we dream together, the stars are the limit. No more the skies. The stars are the limits for us. So with those few words once again, thank you for the invitation. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Thank you.
And was that the first story you published?
That was published by Zuban.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was released in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it was, this is Power to Forgive. So this was it's a short story, but this was part of a collection of short stories. So did you have a short story or something that was published prior, or was this the first published?
No, to my recollection, no. I've been writing little stories and then poetry came later, like ever since I was a child. But the idea of getting it published or the idea of, wanting to be a writer, that never struck me. I didn't even realize that was possible. I always thought, okay, my aim in life, I want to be a teacher, and we had really limited career roles that we thought were possible. So the idea of being published, it never struck me, and even this, the power to forgive. But so I was a closet writer, and I was just writing for my own, for the joy of it. Sometimes I would read it to my family, and they would encourage me, but I never thought of getting published. And getting this published also, it happened quite by chance, because much later, after a while in college, I think, or just after finishing college, I was reading A Terrible Matriarchy by Avino Kire. And that time, our indie publishing houses like Penguin and all was not, Pentrail, sorry, was not in existence then. And I noticed that it was published by Zuban. So I was familiar with Zuban, and I looked up the Zuban website, and they had a manuscript submission. So quite impulsively, actually, I wrote to them and sent a couple of sample stories. And I was very naive. Now I know that these publishing houses, they take weeks or even months to reply. And that time I was in my early 20s, I think, and I waited for a day or two, and then they didn't no reply, so I forgot about it. And it was only much later, months later, I checked my mail, and they asked me to. There were reminder emails as well asking me to send the entire collection, the entire manuscript, and things just took on from there, quite by chance.
This is a perfect segue to the next part of our conversation. And it's so interesting because actually I chaired the book launch for Power to Forgive, if you remember. And at the book launch, it was released by Temsala Ao. And at that book launch, what was very interesting is because the editor could not come, you had read a note from Urvashi Butalia. And it was very interesting because, Urvashi Butalia in her note said that, they have so many manuscripts, and she was just scrolling through a series of emails and manuscripts, and what caught her was this very unique and different story from a very different part of the world, covering a very different theme. I chaired the book launch without reading the book. And for me personally, reading this book was really a sort of a milestone moment in my journey. So good afternoon again, and welcome to the main part of the program. Today we have Avino Kire with us. We had her with us for many years, and then she shifted pace, and I think that's when we kind of realized that we had left one stone unturned, and we hadn't exploited her as much as we should have. So as soon as we found out that she was here, the Writers Collective jumped at the opportunity to have her in a more public forum so that we can extract as much from her before she returns to her current station, which is in Bhutan. She needs very little introduction, so I'm not going to spend so much time introducing her, because I think during the course of the conversation we will learn more about her and her work. But Avino, thank you so much for joining us and for allowing us to make use of you.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, it's such a pleasure to be here, and so happy that I can be a part of especially the first session of segment of Open House. Avino is somebody, she's dabbled across a few genres. She's written non-fiction through her research in folklore and oral traditions. She has written poetry, she has written short stories, and of course, she writes long fiction as well, novels, and secret, which I will let her reveal. I think she's going to, working towards something more ambitious also.
in time to come. But because today our crowd are literary enthusiasts, but also I think a lot of aspiring writers, some of us who are writers who are struggling. So putting all those needs together, there are some questions that we thought we wanted to ask you. The first question I want to ask you is how you came to the business of stories.
Like all of us, I think since I was a child, I've always really loved listening to stories and reading books. And I think I still am, but especially as a child, I was quite an introvert, and I would often prefer to sit in a corner and read a storybook or my comics rather than play with friends. And in time, it felt very natural to transition to the role of being a storyteller from being the listener and a reader. So it just happened very organically. My mother gifted me my first journal at the age of 12. I remember that very specifically because that was before I became a teenager. And I've been maintaining a journal ever since then. And whenever daily life became monotonous and there was just nothing new to write, I woke up, went to school, the same thing. I started writing little fictional stories with myself as the heroine, and then later moved on to little fantasy stories. So that was how it all started.
That's so wonderful. You've told us about some of your, the personal journey, but in terms of reading, can you tell us some of the literary influences, people you grew up reading?
As a child, I had a membership to our state library, and they had some wonderful children's books, but it was all very Eurocentric, so I was reading children's stories. Now I feel that children are that way so fortunate that there's a lot of, including you and Rita as well and others, there are indigenous, stories for Naga stories for little kids as well. But back, during my time, especially when I was actively reading during the 90s, it was all white writers, specifically British writers, and I read a lot of, Enid Blyton and the Mallory Towers, Naughty Amelia Jane's series, and so, and I really